Redo.
Hello. Greetings, adventurers of Vera. Welcome to Tavern Talk at the Golden Feather Tavern. We are Vertec and Chibi, keepers of this fine establishment. Golden Feather Tavern is open to all travelers to come and share their thoughts on the inner workings of Vera over a nice tankard of ale, mead, hot chocolate, or other beverage of choice. So raise your glass, pull up a chair as we delve into tonight's discussion that will totally not be interrupted by the sounds of video. Today is the 24th of January 2024, and we are on episode 003, Freeholds and Content Spacing. Chibi, what do we have on tap today? Besides embarrassment and shame.
This show, for those of you that might be new to our Wednesday night shows, is a little bit more of a casual roundtable discussion where we open up the ability to join in to live with us. For those of you that have been around for a little while, are patrons of the tavern, if you will. And for our travelers of the tavern, you're more than welcome to join us and chat. Tonight, we'll be talking about freeholds, PvP, and content spacing. And if any of these topics sound interesting to you, or you have anything that you would like to say along the way, feel free to just jump into our Discord general chat. If we've chatted with you and hung out with you before in chat, we will pull you in and hear what you have to say. If not, please feel free to write what you want to talk about in the comments in the chat, and we'll read those aloud as we go. And if you like this kind of content, please consider giving us a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure to hit the notification bell so that you can see when we go live or post. With that, last week we were talking about Summoner, and I just accidentally minimized my video. There we go.
Today's a day, last week everybody.
Today is a day. Yes. I don't know if I remember to post anything last week on Tuesday. Let me just double check that real quick, because it was a week last week. For those of you that don't know, we just did our Content Creator Summit on Saturday. It was kind of an all hands on deck type of week last week.
It was all hands. I think I had both my feet too. It's crazy.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, you know what? I asked, should class utilities be shared by primary archetypes, secondary archetypes, or all classes? And you can pick which ones fit your need. We didn't really get any responses on Twitter on this, but let's look at the Discord. Please hold.
Please hold. No. Right to go.
Community.
But I know I have plenty of opinions on it.
What are your opinions before I jump in? Because we have Chaffee's and Hydromancer's opinions.
Ooh. Well, we should probably cover theirs first. They're more important than I am.
Okay. You're half the show, silly.
Yeah, but if they weren't there talking to us, we wouldn't be here, so.
Fair. Hydromancer says a mix of primary and universal. Block, sprint, etc. could be universal. Primaries could add new abilities or enhance universal ones. For example, here's some ranger items I dropped in the AOC chat the other day. The ranger out of combat utility ideas. Fire, ranger, no cost sprinting. Ranger danger. Alert when a red or purple character highlights selects you. Tactical combat torch. Create a torch to light the area. Can function as a short or medium range initiator with burning dot. And one with the wilds. Reduced environmental impacts. Fire Ranger would be a good example of enhancing a universal utility skill. Ranger Danger is PvP oriented ranger only ability, whereas Tactical Combat Torch and One with the Wilds have both PvE and PvP usage. Thought that was a pretty interesting
Ranger
take
Danger.
for that. Ranger Danger, yes.
I dig it.
I do too. I have not heard that, and now I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that out of my head later.
My ranger senses are tingling.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm imagining in my head a little bit. But then Chaffee says, interesting question. It should consist of a nice mix between your primary and secondary archetype. For example, if you pick a fighter, you should get all the utility fighter comes with. If your secondary is cleric, this should give you some small heal utility that can spec into a battle race. A system like this promotes engagement before doing things as a group, questing, raiding, or PvP. In most MMOs I've played, during battle, healers never revive as it stops active heals and depletes mana. Also, off topic, I know we don't know what the system for switching archetypes is yet. My hope is it's not a gold sink, but instead a time investment. I should have to level every secondary archetype to use it to its full potential. This system would give me more flexibility in switching at will. You will limit this to changing at an NPC in a town or something. I'm not saying change archetype wherever you are. I like that idea. And hello, Basil. Welcome in. What do you guys think about the just utilities or even the archetype idea? I kind of like them.
I think we kind of touched on it for the most part, anyway, during the summit, because I think it would work really well, almost how it's already designed, at least in theory, how it's already designed. Because we haven't really gotten a lot of details on how exactly the augments will impact all the skills, right? But I think it would be fantastic if the utility skills were bound to the primary archetype. So you'd have 8 different sets or possibilities of utility skills. They could be set in a certain way on the skill tree, or even limited so that you can only have a certain number of them active at a time. So you'd have to choose between which of the primary archetypes utility skills you want to use. Like, let's say that there's like 4. Dwarf longbow equals human shortbow. Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
Pretty much. But that's if they can.
The message didn't work. It says, I made this with love.
No. Gonna have to refund you your coin. Let me turn that one off.
Yeah.
I think there was
I
an
apologize.
update.
There may have been one. I think I saw something like that the last time I opened the bot.
Alright, that one's turned off. Alright, but anywho, yeah, tied to the, what was I saying? Mid contact.
Archetypes and utilities.
Yeah, so it's bound to the primary archetype. You have 3 or 4 slots that you can fill, or that you have available to choose from, I should say. Demand a refund.
Hi.
And hey, welcome in, by the way. Nice. So yeah, there's 3 or 4 skills that you can choose from, but you can only have, say, 2 or 3 active. So you're gonna not be able to use 1 or 2 of them. But the ones that you choose can also be augmented by your chosen secondary archetype, if you wish it. So, I mean, there's just so much opportunity there, and it also adds to your choice of secondary archetype.
Yeah.
It gives it much more impact and much more flavor, much more choice of flavor. But you could have, I mean, let's say that Ranger Danger. I like that. I don't know why, but it's great. But let's say Ranger Danger, when you get that sense, maybe if you're a rogue, it lets you do like a partial stealth real quick. Or something, you know, just the general idea. It lets you do something. And then the mage lets you do like a half a blink away or something. But it would be basically the same thing, but it's reactionary. So you'd have about 1 second to react and hit the button to do that. Or else
Perception check.
Yeah, perception check, exactly. But yeah, you'd have about, you know, a half a second to react to it, or else it goes away. But
Yeah.
the flavor of it would change between whichever secondary archetype you have. I think that would be neat.
Yeah,
And a great way to
I
do
could
the
agree with that.
utilities, while also making it simple enough so it doesn't get complicated and you don't have so many things floating around everywhere from all this different stuff.
I think it'd be fun to kind of build your own character, like a Build-A-Bear kind of thing, where like you have a stencil of what you can work with, but then you have more flexibility with the utilities. I feel like that would really make it like in your hands in a way. So like, let's say you have a certain amount of primary that you can do because you're leveling only 1 up to 25. By the time you choose your secondary, I feel like there should be a pull between your primary and your secondary class of utilities, as well as some universal utilities anybody can have. Like increased perception might be kind of cool. But that's because I don't think it's just limited to one class, you know, that can have pretty good perception. I mean, look at our own D&D group. There, a few of you have at least a 15 passive perception, not all of you are ranger. So that's a good example of like a universal thing, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm interested in seeing. Yeah, utility is meant to make you flexible, and I think that being able to have more autonomy over your utility would help you with that flexibility. But I'm also very interested in seeing how Ashes is going to do it, because I don't have any particular like it must be this way or else situations about it. But the next week's topic is going to be a would you rather for PvP and corruption. Feel free to answer, but we're not going to really cover this in depth this week. But just as an FYI, would you rather fight back and lose a little, or not fight back and lose more, but also corrupt the other person for killing you? So, something to consider. And we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit on how maybe my view has changed. It's their own thing to I blame you. But yeah, I think I'm excited to get into that a little bit. Can't wait until they show us augments in detail. Yes, I don't know how transformative to think they'll actually end up being. Right?
Yeah.
We got PvP yet, and wait, we haven't even got PvP yet, and already moving on. Are you really a PvPer? Okay. That was too nice. I thought that was to me for a second, and then I saw that as a reply, and I was like, I'm not even a PvPer. Which, by the way, if you guys have not seen, last night, Nice had, Nice and Is There No One Else had Vladis on to talk about PvE and PvP stuff. And Vertec got accused of wanting a PvE server.
I mean, I'm just saying, you guys missed out, by the way. Totally off topic, but Nice, you guys missed out on having a Care Bear dedicated podcast called Is There No One Nice? Totally could have done that. We continue. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, it was actually pretty. It was pretty crazy. It was long. It was a long conversation you guys had last night. It was great.
Gladys the Care Bear ready for a Care Bear stare.
Yeah. I was actually surprised we walked into that conversation the way it was going on. Just, I didn't think that you folks would end up having a. Is there actually a valid reason for a PvE server type discussion? Surprised me.
Yeah. It was definitely interesting to listen to for a little bit too.
Yeah, anybody who didn't catch that, it's definitely worth going and checking out the VOD. Absolutely, I had a blast with it.
I would say it's great to even just listen to. If you can't watch, just listen to it in the car. Like I really honestly felt like I was listening to like a talk show on the radio.
Yeah, we got done with our podcast and I was like, all right, I'm tapping out. I'm gonna go, I think, take a nap or something. And then I strolled into that room and just sat there for the next 45 minutes, something like that.
Something like that. I don't think that there is, with how Steven has this game being made, no reason for one. Yeah. Hi, Chaffee. Welcome in. We were just going over the class utility part, and the next question is up for you guys to talk about for next week. But let's see. So we have a request to talk about Freeholds. Yes.
Oh man.
So we were discussing in the Discord this last week about, freeholds and what happens if your node is sieged. What happens to the freehold? Does it disappear? Is it still there? How does that work? Things like that. And, you know, if it does disappear, then what all do I get to keep? Freeholds, basically. Yeah, literally not free, but yeah.
yeah.
But we were also talking about like the placement of freeholds because it seems like there's a couple of different places that you can put it. There's also the what do you call those? The baronies that have the multiple locations that you could put a freehold in. And we were describing the differences between like the freehold and the barony and the node itself. Let me get that pulled up real quick because I think we came up with a pretty good, concise way of explaining it in a way that like most people can understand.
Yeah. It kind of depends on which of the definitions we went with.
Hit me up. I want to be a roommate. We gotta own one first, and then maybe keep it. Also, just for anybody who's just joining, this is a live hangout, so the voice chats are open. Not like you can just join right in, but if you would like to join in, we have a general and or a live stream queue that you can pop in. Just let me know, and I'll drag you in. We can chat about it one-on-one, or one-on-two.
Well, 2 on however many are going to be scrolling in the room.
2v question mark?
Yeah, 2v question mark. 2vx. 2vx.
2vx.
Let's use an Ashes of Creation term here.
Oh my gosh. Let me see. I think it was an Ashes General.
That's Jeffy. But yeah, request to get us to talk about freeholds. For those who haven't been keeping score, freeholds, they're exactly one half of the only 2 major gripes I have with Ashes.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the part where I was explaining it a little bit. And Vertec, I think you corrected me, but it was like close still. So we were talking about like the node being kind of like the current city you're in. That's maybe like a metropolis or a village level, somewhere between the two. So think of something like, just using a big example, San Francisco, just because I know California better than I know Florida or any other state. So San Francisco could be like a metro level node. And the ZOI of the node is how far that influence stretches. So if you want to think of it as the greater Bay Area for California, that would be the node ZOI. And then a barony is like a suburb. So like I don't want to like specify like I guess Daly City would be technically like a suburb of San Francisco if you look at the map. The part of the bigger San Francisco area is thought of to be San Francisco, but it's like far enough away that it's like a suburb, if that makes any sense.
Hey, it's all right. Using Daly City as an example, I mean, it is an MMO, so there's probably going to be some nodes that would be considered Daly City.
You're silly. Imagine a suburb of freeholds, right? That's what I'm saying. And they actually had an image where they showed that like there's these different baronies, and within each barony, there's different estates within a barony. And each barony can have a guild hall. I think there's a maximum number of guild halls. I think maybe like 3 guild halls maybe per node. But then they all live within like the example they gave is Mirala. There's up to
yeah, the image that they showed had I think 5 guild halls in some of the nodes and like 6 in others. But yeah, there's a max of like 3 patron guilds at a metropolis, and then it scales down 2 at the tier 5 and 1 at the tier 4.
Yeah, here's the link to the direct image that I'm looking at right now. But I believe this is from Steven. From their
parcels.
blog. Map parcels. From the illustration on the wiki, it says, in the region around each node, there are parcels of land that are reserved specifically for the Freehold and Guildhall systems, which we call baronies. A barony is a predetermined area of land near a node or in that node's vassal structure. It can be helpful to think about these baronies as counties. That's also another way of putting it. Counties where many freeholds will be placed. These baronies may contain a single guild hall, which are similar to freeholds, but may only be obtained by guilds. Within each barony, several estates exist that may be bid on by individual players. After you've successfully bid on an estate, your freehold deed will be available to place within the boundary of the successful purchased estate. Once the deed has been placed, this will start your freehold and gives you access to the shed, which I actually didn't even know there was a shed to have access to, so that's cool. Bringing materials to your freehold can be stored in your shed as you prepare to build your home and other buildings. So, yeah. It sounds like you'll have to purchase a deed, and then you will get a top-down view of the estate and select the desired location for the plot. Which, I mean, if I recall correctly, they were talking about having a top-down view for the caravans too. When you're launching a caravan.
Top-down view for the caravans?
Yeah, when you're launching a caravan. They were talking initially about having a top-down view. And then I think that's something that they had mentioned during the live stream with the caravan. They said that maybe the top-down view might be a little hard to determine, like, what has, like, I guess, good hiding sections around it. I don't know how to explain it, but I know they definitely mentioned it in the live stream for the caravans. Someone out there, probably Mad Hatter, is gonna know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure when I'm not certain. I think when they did the actual showcase, there was the caravansary. They were trying to ship it out the door, and you had to put armor and wheels and stuff on it and stock it up with food. There was a top-down view of the caravan at that point.
It wasn't just the caravan, it was the area that you're placing the caravan to launch from.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'll have to go back and watch that then.
But yeah. Chappie says Underrealm Freehold. That'd be fun. Wonder what that's gonna look like. I know what you're talking about, Chibi, but they had to... What? Oh, good, MF. Enjoy playing Uncharted.
All good.
Yeah,
all
you
good
can't
crackers.
English today. You're trying.
I mean, maybe there was something about them saying that you just place it somewhere on the map and then have to go out and grab it or something. I don't know. I forget. I'll have to look it up.
Mad Hatter is trying to English. I know that feeling. Sometimes I just can't type.
Englishing is difficult.
Oracle says, sorry if you said this already. Can all those baronies be filled, or are they possible locations with a max that can be in that area?
Yeah, that second one.
Yeah.
To be honest, they are all going to be filled for sure. Because there's the max number that you can have around the node, and the only thing that's going to stop somebody from getting it is going to be everything. But the big parts of it being cost, because they're going to go up on bidding wars, and once they're filled, that's just it. There's only a certain number out there that'll be able to be purchased. I think they said something like a couple hundred on the entire server, something silly like that. I have to pull it up and check again.
Also, it says here on the wiki under freehold auctions that the cadence of freehold auctions is system driven and can't be affected by mayors or other players. Estates will also be recycled as a result of node sieges and atrophy.
Yeah, and, you know, I would need to see a design doc or something to really make my mind up on that, but I think a system driven cadence of releasing freehold plots is going to actually make them more expensive. Because everyone's going to buy them up, and once the new ones come out, they're just going to be people. It's going to be an insane bidding war, and whoever saved up the most money is going to get the one or two that gets released.
Yeah, we know that in terms of system, X amount of freeholds are available per node level, right? So I believe village is the first level where freeholds are available. I wonder if that limits then the number of freeholds per up until you get to the metropolis then.
Yeah.
And that would be the delegation.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Village or higher. Yeah, freeholds are sizable player housing plots that can be situated on baronies within the zone of influence of a village or higher node.
So it sounds like it has to be in a barony. Does that mean that you can't have in-node freehold, right? You'd have to...
Correct. Yeah, there's in-node, like as in within the metropolis walls.
Right.
Housing. It's non-instanced. It just exists in the world. There's the instanced apartments, which are totally decided. However many that exist are decided by the mayor. The
one that you said the first time, is that kind of what we experienced during Alpha 1 when you and I were trying to buy a house in Alpha 1? And there's just like that house there, and you could... Okay. So that's what I thought the freeholds were. I didn't realize that was two separate systems. You can't place a freehold within an area where node cities will grow. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Sorry, there's some dots that I've been trying to connect lately, and I have completely misunderstood freeholds for a little bit there. Yeah, I know there's in-node houses, housing. I didn't know about houses themselves, but I knew that, they talked about the mansions and stuff, so... My wonder was what the house that you and I were trying to buy before, is that something then that is representative of a freehold or an actual house, like maybe a mansion? I don't know.
No, it's the regular in-node housing.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, cool. Carry on. Beginning house that spawns in village stage will become a mansion in node stage 6. Yeah, because I remember them showing off the house back in Alpha 1 when they were putting remember when I was getting so upset because the rug, the carpet, had that little thing on the corner? It wasn't flat. It was just
Yeah,
so that's what I was thinking of.
The little rugs in the houses and whatnot.
I just wanted to flatten it out and fix it.
Yeah, I think they're even there for APOC. So I think that those wrinkles in the carpets might be here to stay.
Static housing. Maybe that's what I was thinking, was the static housing.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're thinking of.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well then I'm a little less mad. I thought the freeholds were static housing, and they're like, it's not going to be available in the node anymore. And I'm like, I wanted that.
No.
I'm a little less mad. A little bit. I don't know how much little, because again, there's people like Oracle who doesn't want a freehold. Not Oracle, sorry, Mad Hatter wants the in-node mansion. So there's gonna be people that don't even want to go after the freeholds, which I didn't even consider, because I guess this is my equivalent of why wouldn't you want a PvP, for the PvPers?
Yeah.
I'm like, why wouldn't you want a freehold? Everybody wants a freehold, right?
I think there's going to be plenty of people who don't want one, but if you look at how few there are and how much money there is to be made with one, because of how few there are, they're all going to be sold out. Like guaranteed. Guaranteed. I will be absolutely shocked, and I will give so much in-game gold. Like my first 6 months of all the gold that I make, I will give it to you if I am wrong on this. But yes, anybody who wants to make the bet.
Okay.
6 months worth of the very first 6 months that you play the live game, all the gold that's made, I guarantee you that all the freeholds are going to sell.
Mad Hatter says bet.
All
We're
right,
talking about launch, right?
Yeah, launch. I want to be able to keep the gold I make. Absolutely. Because I know I'm going to make that money. There's going to be every single freehold is going to sell as soon as it comes up.
Yo, if I lose, I'll show up to the tavern every night, 9 p.m. CST. Sounds good.
Nice,
Sounds good.
Nice.
I was gonna say that brings me to the other point. Like, I don't know if nice if you're wanting to do processing, but like, I wonder how many people are deterred from processing because you need the freehold, and how many people are that much more determined to do processing because you need the freehold.
Man, I think that that's what they did to make processing interesting. Because gathering's interesting because it's a chill activity you can go out and just do. And it's zero cost input, except for like buying your tools, which are like pennies on the dollar. Crafting is interesting because you're going to get the richest per thing that you do. Yeah.
Mad Hatter is essentially saying he's not intending to be on our server.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, processing is just, I mean, what do you do for processing? How interesting can that really be? How interesting can they make it? I mean, we saw the demo video for it, right? Mm-hmm. You go up to a guy and you're like, hey, could you process this? And you give him some fuel and you come back whenever he's done. That's processing. So what they do to make it interesting, to be amazing at processing, you have to have a freehold.
That's fair, Mad Hatter. And yeah, that's a good point. Also, just to go back to Mad Hatter's point, if you watched our Content Creator Summit, which is, by the way, live, it's live on our YouTube now, all 7 hours. Vertex stayed up very late, many of the days, many weeks. Ooh. Yeah, it's only been many weeks within the 1 week. Not even. It feels like it, I bet.
I tell you what, a video that size, if we didn't have other content creators waiting on us to put that up, I absolutely would have waited until the next weekend to edit that and put it up.
Yeah.
That
was a doozy. So there's that. But they said, I love y'all, but I don't want to be on the same server as you. Because they don't want to fight each other. You know, can you imagine the content creators like going up against each other? Crossing is also just a waiting game, so that's fair. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Pocket says, plan to be a world PvPer merc and plan to make friends who will want my processed materials, and my next highest mastery will be gathering, so I can gather good materials and process them and resell it to clients. Nice. Unless manual crafting is different. Mad. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Y'all put it up in the next day. It was insane. Yeah. Might be an active game. Yeah, going back to the crafting might be an active game. I would love for every one of us who are in the game ahead of time to be together. Yeah, I mean, I really hope to see you guys in Alpha 2. I mean, even if we don't make it to launch together, I hope to play with you guys in Alpha 2. I think that'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I just know the really friendly content creator atmosphere that there currently exists might turn into open war on Twitch at some point, because someone's going to get angry that somebody else destroyed their node. Like, it'll be funny and it'll be whatever for like a little while, but 2 to 3 years in, when everything really starts to be established and servers are kind of like working like a well-tuned machine, so to say, and someone comes along like, hey, take down this node.
What are the advantages of guild halls? Oh, I love that question. We were just actually talking about this like 2 weeks ago, the guild hall conversation in our Discord.
Yeah, I wasn't there for a lot of that, I don't think.
You were the one that brought up the advantages of being a what is that called again? The specific guild rep or whatever for the node.
Yeah, I was there for that. I wasn't there for much else outside of that patron guild thing.
But the patron guild, yeah. The guild halls, they are kind of like a centerpiece for the guilds to... Yay! Yes, you will, Basil. You better be. You're in our guild. Centerpiece for the guild. So essentially, it's going to be something like, depending on, I think, patron guild, right? Because the patron guild can also place their guild hall within the footprint of their patron node. But they have different perks from the regular guild halls, it sounds like. But guild halls can only be destroyed by a successful node siege. This contrasts with guild fortresses, which can be sieged in a guild war, which I thought was really cool. Guild halls are objectives in guild wars, which is why they can be destroyed. And a guild hall only houses a single guild. So the benefits of it are basically allowing you to participate in the shareholder system within the node. Then you have the patron guilds, which have a lot more of the perks and stuff with the baronies. And the patron guild halls placed within the baronies may have the ability to confer benefits to surrounding estates within that node by speccing into passives in their guild skill tree. And also carrying out a lengthy quest line, which I like that. What are your thoughts on the quest line stuff? I kind of like it because it feels like it's not just a time sink or a money sink. It's also a time sink.
For what about the quest?
For just in general, it seems like there's a lot of things where either considering or actually have lengthy or a decent quest line to them to unlock a specific feature. Like, for example, the suggestion of it for the secondary archetypes, or as they're inferring the patron guild hall.
Yeah, I mean, I am always a fan of, if it's going to take my time, make it time that's interesting instead of just, hey, why don't you pay like 6 hours worth of farming worth of gold? Which, I mean, there's plenty of stuff that can get by with that, because you don't need everything to be like a full, long-blown quest line. Like,
right.
You're gonna earn a bunch of gold doing that. You gotta have something to spend it on. Am I right?
Right.
But as many things that it makes sense to, I think it should be absolutely replaced by do a quest line, do something to completion to learn about the background of why it is, how it's done that way, or who it is that's taking an action on your behalf.
Yeah.
Like for the secondary archetypes, it perfectly makes sense because you play the first, what was it, like 25 to 30, 25 levels I think it is, with one archetype. So you get to learn who that one archetype is. So then you should go on a quest line.
25, yeah.
Yeah, so then you should go on a quest line to learn about what the other archetype is before you can choose it as a secondary that completely alters your class. So a quest line absolutely makes sense, more so than just paying a fee. But with some of the other items, like after doing that quest line, just going back and changing over your secondary to something else, like there shouldn't be another quest that you have to do every time. That shouldn't take a lot more effort. Just give yourself, or give somebody, you know, a day or two worth of quest lines to even unlock that secondary archetype.
Yeah, I think honestly, should that be time gated, do you think, or should that just be like length of questing?
Length of questing. Like give it you know, 2 to 3 average players' days worth of questing in order to unlock a specific secondary archetype. Something like that I think would be perfectly fair. And then you just need to go back to town, touch up with that class or archetype trainer or whatever, and let them change your secondary while you're in town.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to go back through the chat. First off, hi Tech Deck, welcome in. Second off, Oracle is asking, what are the advantages of guild halls? And the guild halls, from what I can tell, their main advantages are that you can allocate points to increase the reputation within the node that houses the guild hall. and that will affect NPCs and quests and merchant services, etc. But to follow that up, Mad Hatter says, I'm excited for quest lines and the expected unique stories that they'll tell. I'm excited for that as well. But to follow that up, Oracle says, do you need to be a part of that guild to get an estate in that barony? So if there's a guild hall in a barony area, do you have to be a part of that guild in order to have an estate? And the answer is no, because while there are guild housing, that's really referring to things like the guild halls and the other guild specific buildings, not guild owned player housing. But Mad Hatter makes a good point. Guild halls will affect freeholds near them that are a part of the guild, i.e. owned by players in the guild. So I thought that was really cool.
All I know is come hell or high water, we're gonna get ourselves a freehold. But yes, you mentioned it really quick. I want to say again, Tech, welcome in. Hello. In case you folks don't know him, that is Tech 22, one of our older friends. He's been on a couple times, hung out with us.
Yes,
cool cat.
Agreed. And then also for the freeholds, going back to that. Hello, Turgo. Okay. Oh no, I'm not saying that one.
Oracle.
Hello, Turgo. Welcome in.
Oracle already knows Tech.
By the way, I don't know if you knew this, but buildings will be able to be named, and the custom name will appear as a floating text when it's targeted.
Yes, Tech. Yes, you are always the best Ashes content.
Yes,
precisely.
Also, did you know? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna welcome Turgo in as well. Say hello there, Turgo. Welcome on in. And also, if you guys don't know who Turgo is not crazy active with Ashes content right now, but is looking to be in the future as soon as A2 comes out. He's gonna be running around with us.
Yeah. But what I was trying to say is, did you know that even if you don't own the building, let's say Nice owned the building and invited us to be partakers of the freehold, that I believe we can still help change the look of said freehold?
Really?
Because I was thinking it would be like a little bit like saddening for me, specifically family members, right? Because family members are able to be a part of the freehold. So like, it's going to be a little bit sad to me because you and I both worked really hard to buy cosmetics for the Golden Feather Tavern in the game. Yeah. And I was like, if we don't even own it and we were just members of the, like, family members of whoever did own the freehold, if somebody was nice enough to invite us, then, like, why would I have bought all of those cosmetics? Like, if I can't even change it. But it specifically says on the wiki that family members are able to apply their cosmetics to freehold buildings if permitted. So it seems like a permission that you can turn on and off.
Should be super handy for us.
Yeah.
Also, because I know you got some cosmetics that I didn't get, and I got some that you didn't get. So
right, exactly. And I really like that because who knows? Maybe if somebody gets a really nifty one, they're like, "Oh my god, this would be so cool for the Golden Feather." I'd be like, "Yo, get in here, let's make it." You get to choose. That'd be a cool subscriber perk in the future. You get to choose what our freehold looks like this month.
Oh, I'm not sure if I'd be ready to go for this month, but maybe this half a month for the next 6 months.
This season.
Yeah, maybe this season. Yeah, let's keep it to 6 months on a cosmetic. I'm hoping.
Well,
let's see often.
Let's see if our freehold lasts months.
I mean, that's also a fair point too.
Maybe we can change it to however often we get a new freehold. All right, Golden Feather Tavern, building number 4. Which one's this one gonna look like? 4th iteration, the Golden Feather Tavern.
Oh my goodness. I wonder if there's ways to save loadout. Like have a this is our freehold setup. Number 1, and this is number 4. Okay, wait, we didn't like number 3. Let's change that one. Just delete that one. Let's start over again. And then, you know, you can just then we could absolutely cycle through every season or monthly if it gives 12 slots.
Yeah.
Basil is a tree, always a tree. I think there's only like 2 tree houses.
Just a tree. Well, also the other thing to consider is the reason why I wasn't really too worried about like floor plan necessarily is they recently did mention this is a bakery type of cosmetic versus a different type of freehold cosmetic.
Yeah, and that's the part that I had an issue with, and the reason why when they let it happen, I'm going to be submitting some exchanges, because I didn't buy the bakery because they said it was a bakery, but it's a tavern. Right. So because they came back and they said no, this is a tavern, and I was like, but it says it was a bakery. I didn't want to buy a bakery. So because it looks kind of exactly like what we wanted. I mean, I think it was even called like the Golden something. So it almost even has the Golden Feather name.
Yeah, I forgot what it was though, but I remember which one you're talking about. It doesn't seem like they have any information here on your cosmetic changing the layout of your freehold. I think it just I imagine it might just only change the outside of it, not the inside. And then the inside is a whole other thing. What do you want the inside to look like, kind of thing?
Yeah, but I totally see where you're coming from. But if you were to check out, just for instance, do you still have like the guild page pulled up, the guild hall one?
No, but I can get it up again. Just an illusion, exactly. Just an illusion.
Just an illusion.
There's no freeholds here. They're all just an illusion.
Because even looking at the one for guild halls, just on the left side when you scroll down to the point where you can actually see them, like guild hall skins, like looking at a comparison between just those 2 that are shown, there's got to be, I mean, literally just because of the windows, there 100% has to be a difference in floor plan between those 2.
Maybe. But I could also see there being like a single. Well, also I don't know. You'd have to see which one's which, because maybe the summer one is for dwarves and the other one is for like taller people.
Yeah, people would be super hot with that. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't know. I think it's tough to say. I don't know, for it to actually change the structure of the inside. I don't know. It's hard to say that. It's a good question for Intrepid, I guess.
Yeah.
You rolled a nat 20 on perception, and your dice being rolled by the gods controlling your body. Just very neat exist, yeah. Right? But
Does Vera even exist? How existential?
Taverns and player shops are not tied to in-node housing, is what this is saying for back in 2020 for static housing. Okay, here you go. Maybe this might help a little bit, because I wonder if it's going to be about static housing, it might have something to do with the freehold. It says the architecture of static housing is predetermined by the racial influence of the node's layout and style. But that doesn't really say much about the outline.
Yeah, there are no skins, no cosmetic skins for the in-node static housing.
Intrepid, we have questions. We're over here. We're lost. We need your help. I honestly, I I don't know because you have a blueprint already. So maybe you choose the layout of it and maybe you have in mind which freehold skin you're going to apply to it based on the blueprint, or maybe certain. That's what I was getting at with like the tier 1 thing is like there's a difference between a tier 1 mount and a tier 2 mount, and there's some skins that's only available for tier 2 and some skins that aren't available for tier 1. So my thoughts are, if there's blueprints, maybe there's certain skins for nodes that are like 1 like level, and then there's other skins that are only available for multiple levels, which would make sense with what you're saying. But I don't think it would change the inside of it. It would just change the outside of it.
Well, so check this out. Here's a scenario for you. So there are going to be different tiers of housing, and those tiers could absolutely be like small being like a one story and kind of, you know, small. Medium being 2 stories and being a little bit bigger on the footprint as well. So it's like wider and it's deeper as well as taller. And then large is going to be 3 floors and it's going to be whatever, like even an even bigger footprint. Now,
I'm sorry, I just realized we've been live an hour. I think most of this has been talking about Freehold.
We've got lots to say about Freeholds. We really do. But if you were to get the literal like tree house, like well, the one that everyone knows is a tree house in their real life backyards, like it's a tree built into a house, it's going to be a certain shape, and visibly in the cosmetic it looks like a certain shape. But then if you go and get, say, let's see, let me pull one up here.
I do get what you're saying, because like there's the treehouse one that looks like it should be up in the tree, aka Pyre. And then there's some other like a Dunes and Ken like looking one, or like perhaps the other racial ones. Yeah. Like
there's literal skinny ones, there's round ones, there's square ones, there's L-shaped ones.
Yeah.
And then you can't take an L-shaped one and make it into a round one just by adding a skin. So you would literally be rearranging. It may have the same number, type, and size of rooms, but it's going to be shaped differently. So would you have to redo all your furniture? Yeah.
No PvP. I think nice left because we didn't talk about it yet. I'm sad I didn't buy the Dunier one. Yeah. Everything fits into the square hole. No, stop it. Okay, on that note, I'm leaving. So the next thing I want to talk about, and I'm going back to this. Sir Ensington, I know you're watching this. I'm blaming you for this. It's all your fault. He gave me an existential crisis on Sunday.
Uh-oh.
Tech, what's my stance on PvP and ashes?
Dislikes it?
Because
it means that you'll walk around a corner and there'll be 7 big bad wolves about to eat your face, and then they eat your face, and then they do it again.
But mainly the point that I'm trying to get at, which everybody knows about me by this point, is I would rather not fight back and let you get corrupted than me fight back and get flagged for 1, and for 2 just die anyway, essentially. But Sir Ensington brought up this point, and that level of petty too. It's not just petty, it's more like, if you're gonna force me to partake in something I don't want to partake in, then you're getting the bitter end of it. I'm just telling you that. Like,
yes, the
why are you forcing
approach.
me into this?
Exactly.
But what Sir Ensington brought up was, you remember this topic with the animal husbandry and the pets?
No.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, to catch the rest of you guys up, he was talking about if you're doing animal husbandry, your mount or pet that you catch will literally be an item in your bag.
Oh yes. Okay.
And if you caught a rare griffin on your way back to the freehold,
even more so, it is a gatherable.
Yeah.
It is a gatherable resource because you are using a gathering skill.
So let's say you got a rare resource. Now I have to fight back. I'm not letting you take that from me. That was evil. I hated that he brought that point up. Are there animal bags that you can fit that shape? Oh wow. Okay, we're just on that still. Yes, I will just run. But that's the other thing is, yeah. Go ahead, sorry. Telling you,
unless that gets clarified as something totally different, that's going to be an absolute fear of mine. Is I'd pick up what was it, hunting? They call it, to go hunting for critters.
Yeah.
Trying to find things, and I find the ashes shiny out in the wild, and I go to bring it back home, and I get jumped by Jimmy Bob 24, and there goes my shiny. My super awesome, found in the wild, perfect color, perfect stats. Oh, it would be gone.
Oh, you're actually asking if it fits in. Sorry, I thought you were going off of the whole everything fits in the square hole joke from earlier, the way that you phrased that. But yeah, I imagine that a small critter would be 1 square and a taller thing would be taller, or like a wider one. I wasn't here for the square joke. Oh, okay. Sorry. My bad. Classic Jimmy Bob 24.
Classic Jimmy Bob 24. It is. That's what I'm expecting him. I'm waiting for him.
I feel like there will be a bag for the critters, I
mean, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe not, though, because then also begs the question. If you can hunt an animal out in the wild and tame it so that you can do animal husbandry, it probably would be tameable to ride as a mount after you get it out in the wild, I would assume.
Kind of like Breath of the Wild. You tame the horse and you can just ride it right back. Or BDO, can you ride it back? Forgot.
Yeah, we had to. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it wasn't guaranteed to follow you if you didn't ride it all the way back.
That's fair.
But yeah, then the question is, where was the question? You distracted me.
I'm so sorry. Riding it back because you don't want to.
So if you could ride it back, then it's technically a mount that you can ride, but it's also a gatherable. So at what point does the system differentiate between a gatherable resource being a horse in the wild, let's say, versus a horse that goes through like animal husbandry system and makes a baby horse that is also now a horse? Is that like, does it suddenly on the other side have the crafted item status applied to it, but the other horse that you found in the wild is still a gatherable no matter how long you own it?
Interesting. I would like to see more in animal husbandry just because like these questions just keep coming, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. Questions.
So many questions.
One of these days, we're going to have to actually be writing all of these down, because I know every once in a while there's some that we come up with that we absolutely forget about, like the fact that I forgot that I even asked that question the other day when we were hanging with Onsington. And you're like, do you remember that? No, I absolutely don't literally remember the question that I brought up. I forgot all about it.
We were talking about it for, I feel like, a good hour.
We were.
So I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can help jog your memory. Brie, I got an army of people interested in playing Ashes waiting for me to give them the orders. You will have an army protecting you. Yay!
Nice.
I can only hope. I appreciate that. I will pay you in tavern food and alchemy potions. There's so much stuff they haven't shown us that must be ready. That must already have solutions for it, right? Write that down. Write that down.
Exactly.
That's honestly anybody with ADHD. If you're like us, you have ADHD. We have like this great thought. We're like, I can't forget this later, and then you completely forget it later.
Yeah.
It sucks. Sorry, I just got here. What topic are we talking about now?
Okay, the short version is we're talking about gathering skills and crafting skills, and how if you have gatherable raw resources in your bag when you die, you have a chance of dropping them when you die. A certain number of them, or a variable number, or what have you. If you have crafted items those only have a chance of dropping if you are corrupt. But
Right.
the hunting skill, where you're going out and taming animals, is considered a gathering skill. So if you were to find a rare animal of excellent stats, excellent coloring, and all that out in the wild, is it considered a gatherable while it's in your bag? Would you drop an entire animal if somebody killed you?
What?
And then after you take it
I'd be
all the way
so
back to
mad.
your freehold, yeah, right? And you
Oh
put it
my
all the way
gosh.
through, you process it all the way through, and you get to the crafting portion where you're actually churning out, baby animals. And would those be considered crafted items that you would not drop when you're out in the wild? And would the original one that you got out in the wild still be considered a gatherable item?
Yeah. Good questions. We have so many questions, not enough answers. There's too many questions. And I imagine if you multiply us like 7-fold, 100-fold easily, that's a whole community full of questions. we
we can apply the
We're
logic of
curious.
having a pocket horse. Yeah, see, exactly.
Yeah.
When
That's
one
funny.
can keep 5 horses in their backpack,
I got
and
a
also
pocket
a griffin,
horse.
and maybe a dragon.
But also, we were talking about, like, what if you didn't know it, or maybe you did know it, but, like, the thing that dropped at the time, like, if you didn't fight back and you dropped a gatherable, what if you dropped, like, a good quality, like, a really good quality, like, a rare, or, like, I don't know,
An epic mount.
crazy, yeah, what if you
An
drop
epic
it?
super secret
and-
mount or something, and it's a gatherable item, and you just drop it because somebody decided to stab you in the face as you crawled out of a bush.
I'm just so mad that he made that point, because now I'm like, I can't let it alone. That same thing applies to my herbs. What if I get a really good quality herb? And like, if it's something like Final Fantasy XIV, where the different quality of your items going into crafting or processing determine the quality of the thing coming out, I'm not going to want to let that drop. I'm going to be so mad. So mad. If I lose it. Freeholds alone, we can talk about it for a whole day and solve questions. Yes, I absolutely. I'll live with you. They can't kill 2 healers.
There you
True.
go.
We'll heal each other.
Exactly.
I like
So
that
all you
idea.
gotta do is just be really good with healing, have decent gear, and just the both of you, when one person starts getting attacked, you both start healing the other person.
That's a great question, Golwood. I wonder the same thing. If you have one epic herb in your bag, but 100 dandelions, would that make carrying it safer? That's a great question. What's the percentage? If you're going percentage-wise, it's 1 in 101 that you're gonna drop that epic herb.
Or is it, do you think that they would put an algorithm in there where, let's say you have 1 dandelion, and for every 10 or every 9 dandelions you find, you also find like a tulip. And so you have 9 dandelions and 1 tulip, or you have 90 dandelions and 10 tulips. Is that a 1 out of 100 chance? Or are they going to scale it up so it's actually 10 times 10? Because it's a 1 out of 10 chance of getting a tulip. So you're actually looking at 190. So if they give you 10% of it, then you're actually maybe gonna drop X amount of that.
Ooh, okay. So Galwood first says, yeah, maybe they assign a value based on rarity for the loot drop algorithm. That's something we can figure out in Alpha 2 at least. That's testable. Exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Nemesis says, we'll go for for that part then. I heard that bags will have status effects, which makes dropping from death much less, or makes the killer take more time to loot the bag. So unless they brought their own bag to fit the animal, then they have a small chance to even steal it in the first place. But if they prepped for it, then I give credits to them to set it up, right? I mean, honestly, like, you'd have to stalk somebody for a little bit in game to know that they're the ones doing that type of hunting.
We'll
To
see.
even know
That's
to bring that
also-
type of bag.
Yeah, exactly. And see, that's also a good question on the value of such bags. Because in a lot of games, bags get really expensive really quick. Oh, look, it's a 10 slot or a 5 slot bag. It cost me 12 copper. Oh, look, it's a 10 slot bag instead of a 5. That's going to cost me 25 silver.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's a 12 slot instead of a 10 slot. Oh, that's going to cost me like 15 gold, 20 gold, 30 gold. And then just every 2 you go up, it just multiplies by 2 or 3 even.
Right.
And I can only imagine what status effects like that would do to a bag. The same size bag. Oof.
Inflation. Yep. Inflation. That's the other thing that makes me kind of curious, though, because we talked previously about the library storing information on like narrative events, locations of gatherables, dungeons, POIs, etc. So, like, what if somebody is in a node where there is the library for scientific nodes, and you notice somebody coming from like out in the world, and they are always selling this thing on the market? Then, you know, the question then is, do you kind of have an idea of what type of thing that they're doing in terms of mastery? And then now there's a location of this type of gatherable. Can you now figure out where to find them yourselves and or stock them a little easier?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Chaffee says, sounds like we need to get into the bag making business. Let's do it. On a freehold,
Go.
we'll have Coach EJ's handbaggery.
Honestly, I was still kind of going back and forth. Do I want my second to be, because I obviously want my first to be alchemy, like 100% I want alchemy. But do I want the second to be herbalism? Do I want it to be cooking, or do I want it to be tailoring? Because I believe tailoring makes the bags. And also some armor for clothies. So
Why not have 2 characters and do all the above?
because then I have to split my time between 2 different characters, and that's gonna be really long.
Well, look at it this way. Guild is not going to, or gear is not going to be bound by default. There's going to be only some things that are bound by default. So if you had 2 characters that could wear the same gear or close to it, it wouldn't cost as much to outfit them. Just don't sell the stuff as you level up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Would help.
I'm Grandmastering cooking and farming. Nice. Oracle says, I think we can talk about nothing but ashes and still have questions when it launches. And honestly, I wanted to say, I think this is the thing that drives... Mad Hatter. This is the thing that drives player decisions, right? You have a question, you have a curiosity. What would happen if? What does this do? What does that do? And you typically follow that curiosity, finding an answer. I like that. If you don't wonder, or sometimes if you don't wonder, you don't do it. But there's also times where like you wonder, there's an answer out there, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to go do this now because that's how I get this thing. Okay, I'm gonna go do that. Case in point, legendary mounts in World of Warcraft, where you have to fight those world bosses in hopes for it to drop. Yeah, so now you know. But now you really want the thing, so you're gonna go do it. Versus like the curiosity for its sake kind of thing. But
Boy. Yeah, so many questions. Always going to be questions. Like, we've known about as animal husbandry, like everything that occurred in that whole conversation with the animals and if they drop, we've known all that information for the longest time. It just takes that one moment where you go, wait, and you randomly put together 2 little dots.
Yep.
That have been talked about so long ago. That's all it takes.
Yep.
And then
much wow. Many questions, much
many
wow.
Much wow.
So my final topic for tonight is talking about like content spacing, and what I mean by that is a recent conversation has come up in our Discord. Obviously, Vertec and I, we have experience with this. We're a little bit on the busier sides. As you see, we just put our official Content Creator Summit live for everybody on YouTube, and now we're dealing with spacing for these videos. Although I believe in the future, once we can figure out how to get this live on YouTube at the same time as Twitch, it will be a little bit less work each week because it will already be live, essentially. It'll already be on YouTube. I don't have to go through and he doesn't have to go through and edit it. I would just have to go through and edit out the segments and then get those ready. And that's a little bit less work than both of us doing multiple editing all the time, which is what we're doing right now. But I feel like because you and I do our podcast, and at this point, plural, podcasts live each week, we have a lot more content to cycle through and a lot more interesting things to put out there. But then there's things where Intrepid, they only have their live stream once a month. So a few times people have gotten like that excitement only to be realizing that it's just a video from the most recent live stream. So I think they were showing like something about caravans. I feel like they sent out like a newsletter talking about how like the upcoming thing was gonna be for caravans this month and like PvP. And so people saw that and they're like, oh my gosh, testing is happening, only to realize they were posting on YouTube the question about like, are you excited for seeing this? Which is because they were talking about it being the January topic. So what are your feelings on that? There are so many YouTube shorts and it's like redone. So like as a member of the community who follows this, how does that make you feel? And I'll give you a kind of a devil's advocate after.
Oh man, I think it's tough either way. I really don't have a very strong opinion on it though myself. Like, it's one of those like it's just tough to space things out appropriately in any way, shape, or form, because if you're creating content, you're not doing things. If that makes sense.
Right.
Stretch. But in the context of say a marketing team or whatever, if you're creating content, you are not working on, say, like the official content creator program and like how that would be perceived by the public, and creating marketing materials for that and for content creators. It's trying to keep yourself relevant by putting something up, which is, I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying that it's a choice that has to be made. Like, would you spend your time on this or that?
Yeah. Mad Hatter's giving me grief for cracking my neck.
Oh, lordy.
I just stretched it. I'm sorry if you heard that. But
yeah, it's always a choice. I mean, that's like with us, we had the hard decision of should we do everything that we do on one channel on YouTube because it might hurt the algorithm. We might be better off making multiple channels, or should we just keep the one?
Right.
And when we don't really have short content, should we put up more of the long form? Should we cut up the long form stuff and make it short, or should we make new stuff at like from scratch to be short and to be this and be that? And we had to make the decisions that we did because, well, we don't have a lot of time. We've literally like this is like a third job for us. So.
Yeah. True, it is. For those that don't know, like we work many hours throughout the week on both of these podcasts, plus the D&D stream. So it's a lot of work, but I think you guys enjoy them. I hope you guys enjoy them because if you did, you would not. If you didn't, you would not be here. What? No way. I know, right? Jeez.
No way.
The thought.
Yeah. Content spacing thing is tricky.
Yeah.
Very, very tricky.
My preview on it is like, yes, they only go live once a month, and I mean, I feel like it was maybe Hydro that had brought this up in our Discord, but the conversation was like, well, what if we got like a nice sneak peek of, I don't know, just a nice scene in terms of a shorts, which isn't really new necessarily because they've shown us the seasons changing previously, and here on screen we see the lovely winter scene. So like, what if you just have a moment where you show off that lovely in-game audio and visuals that you are so excited to show us in Alpha 2? Just give us little sneak peeks of that. It doesn't have to be anywhere you've not been. He does. But it's one of those, like, you don't have to be anywhere that you've not been before. It could be literally the same alleyway that you're showing us right here, and just have like the experience of no HUD and just enjoying the winter scene just for a moment, or something like that.
That's gonna be the prime source of my content. If there's a snow angel emote, I'm gonna be doing snow angels in the sand for hours at a time. And
In the
snow
sand?
angels. Yeah, I'm just gonna go down to the beach
Does that
and do
become a
snow
sand
angels in
angel?
the sand. Yeah. Be a sand angel, and then I'm gonna climb up some
Sand
mountains and do
angel.
snow angels there, and that's gonna be the majority of my content. Is just sitting there.
I'm just saying, just like little things to really highlight the things that they've been working on in a way that's different from within the stream. But personally, for me, it doesn't really bother me. I like still seeing them. I tend to ignore them a little bit more than their like questions that they put out on Twitter, just because I feel like those are a little bit more engaging to me. But I will say, and the point that I believe Chaffee made, maybe it was Mad Hatter, is that these aren't really for us necessarily within the community. Sure, they can be for people in the community who maybe haven't seen it yet, but it's mainly for the people who have not really seen Ashes of Creation much, or like it's just scrolling it into other just like scrolling through people who like MMORPGs and things like that. Maybe this short will pop up on them. They're like, whoa, that's really cool, and then check into it. You know, this is the devil's advocate response. I'm curious for you too. If you get early alpha 2 access and it's still under NDA, would you plan to play it even if you can't talk about it? I mean, we've had to deal with that with alpha 1, right?
Yeah, and honestly, just with PI in general, that's why. And I'm going to be honest and candid with you here. Half the time when I say I don't really recall, I really have to try to remember if that was public stuff or if that was something I just heard along the way at some point, and so I have to look it up, and then I find it and I'm like, yeah, absolutely, that was totally a thing.
True.
So everything that I think I know, I have to remember where I remember it from or where I heard it from, just in case there's something I get mixed up.
This is also why we push the wiki so hard, because we're like,
yes,
I can rely on this being public information.
That is 100% one of the big reasons why we pull up the wiki so often. Because I don't want to have like the one thing that I say
Chappy. I know where you're going with that. No.
Naughty Chaffee.
Naughty.
But yeah, I don't want like the one thing I say that messes up our entire like content creator experience for Ashes be because it was something that I thought was public knowledge and ended up being something that I remembered from like way back when it just happened to never be released for some odd reason. So yeah, sometimes when I say I don't know, let me go ahead and check on that, it's because I don't recall if it's public or not.
The only thing spilling is the drink. The original truth serum. Protect me and slip equals banned. Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing is, I mean, if you think about it, we've been part of PI for a very long time. So there's a lot of knowledge that we've retained over the last 7 years. If you think back to the Kickstarter, that we have to be like, wait, hold on. Because, you know, we have to keep ourselves safe too. So.
I mean, yeah, just imagine if there was like a type of tree or something that they really wanted to keep under wraps and they mentioned at some point and we somehow found out. And I just talked about that. Just simply a type of tree. Boom, done.
Speaking of tree, there was a spell tree on screen. I don't want to lose access either. That would make me cry too. I like the skill tree on there, and I've noticed that the wiki has done a really good job of putting up the information on the skill tree, as well as there's somebody in our community who's iterated over it, where you can actually allocate points now into the skill tree. I thought that was really cool. I love, I just love the ingenuity and the craftiness of the community, either in making foam armor or in creating just apps and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm excited.
Indeed.
But, that's all I really had for today.
But that is definitely not a hint. I wish I could do things like give hints about things and niftiness. I was actually trying to think of like a type of tree that would just be silly to mention, but then I thought that would just be a silly tangent to go on. Like, what if they had like a weeping slime tree, and that was like a thing that was in like their whatever area? But that just sounds like a silly idea in general.
Yeah. But
Write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Write it down. But I forgot what I was gonna say. Either way, thank you guys so much for joining us. Even if nobody felt inspired enough to come chit chat, I hope you guys enjoy these formats. And at least have us be more on the relaxed side and just hanging out with you.
The massive muscle wood. There you go.
Oh, there you go. Musclewood. It's the tree that you use to practice punching on.
Make strong axes.
Fun fact, real quick side tangent as we end here. Been playing Pal World actually. I don't know how Enshroud is because it's just something that came out I think today. I didn't know that you could punch trees to get wood so that you could make axes. But it's one of those things. The thing that I was going to bring up was Pal World. Do you think that Ashes should have something where if you die, kind of like in Pal World, there's like that beam of light where your stuff fell for you? Do you think they should have like a beam of light to help you get back to it?
More so if you die and you drop stuff on the ground, should there be a beam of light to guide you back? Yeah. Like, for example, when you die, I don't see your beam of light. You only see your beam of light. If that makes sense. Because I mean, I can see it as a guild person, but when I was playing yesterday with somebody who wasn't in the guild, I couldn't see their beams. It was only somebody who was like in a guild that I could see the beam. Oh, so like you saying you could, should you be able to see the beam of light for everybody that dies? For yourself. I'm saying, should it be the same? Should you see your own beam of where your stuff is? Because if you're being teleported back to the most recent like spawn point, you got to try to figure out where you left off, and that would help guide you back to where you were. Okay, sorry, I just had to connect all the dots here. I think I just missed everything that you said and had to piece it together backwards. But so you're saying, should Ashes have it to where when you die, there's a beam of light that you can see to guide you back to where you died? Yes. So that you can pick up your stuff. That would be neat, but I think even just something on the mini-map or something would be plenty fine for me. True. I just wasn't sure if it would be helpful because, like, for me, I get turned around in games sometimes, and I also wasn't sure how Enshrouded would do it, but both of those have that survival side to it. Yeah, because, I mean, let's be honest. If you really looked at... If anybody looks at, like, a flat map on a table... it's a lot harder to remember exactly which turns to make and where than if you actually walk through it in like the 3D space that's actually the living world. So trying to remember exactly where you're at in a video game is harder than actually if you were out in the woods yourself, because you're not going to be able to see the terrain and recognize things as easily. It just doesn't register in your brain as much because it's a flat image that keeps changing instead of world going around you. So I think there should be a little bit of help for that. Personally, I'm okay with just a mark on the map, but yeah, a beam of light would be nice too. I would like the beam of light, even if it wasn't as big as Pal Worlds, like all the way up in the sky, even if it was just like enough where if like, specifically the reason why the beam of light helps me is if I'm down here and my stuff was up here and I got turned around because I was just coming back to this area for the first time, the beam of light would help me to know that it's up above me instead of like on the same plane as me, so that I can know, I gotta climb up there to go find it, versus just like, your thing is this way, unless like the decal is up where it is instead of a beam of light. Sorry, I'm very physical when I talk. You guys don't usually see this. I'm getting self-conscious. But either way, I know in case it wasn't evident, I'm actually starting to get on the sleepy end of things. Yeah, sorry. I think it's about time to tap out. At least I can go walk around and get refreshed or something. I don't know. My brain's starting to fizzle out. Did you have anything you wanted to close out on? No. Okay. Well, thank you, folks. Matt Hatter, thank you for understanding the pain there. Perfect. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for chatting with us. Thank you for just interacting in chat and whatnot. It's the greatest thing. We love it, and it's amazing support. We will not forget it ever. Now the question is who to raid over to.
I was thinking Thogli, because I just mentioned Enshroud, and he's playing Enshrouded, and we've already raided over to Turgo.
Yeah, we have. Okay. Well then, let's take it over to Thogli. You folks have yourselves a fantastic evening, and we will see you the next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
Take care and bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.